All right, guys, this is Frederick, and I'm the founder and publisher of Saturday AM, the world's most diverse manga anthology. And this is the second episode of a new experience that we have called Saturday AM Roundtable. And this is where we get some of our core team that helped us launch this whole revolution in diverse manga content. And we basically turn the tables and open up opportunities for you guys to ask us questions and do it directly. Now, this is not a live chat in the sense you guys can give us questions directly in there. We have a variety of ways for folks to submit questions to us, everything from our Amino community to our Instagram accounts to our Facebook, Twitter, and so on. So that's where we'll be taking questions, and we hope that will inspire more of you, even though we've got a great number of folks who follow us already on those platforms, but to exercise those platforms as a means of reaching out to us and getting questions to us, and also staying at top of the things we have coming up. So we have a lot of stuff to go over today. We have a lot of questions from you guys that have been submitted already. So with that being said, I want to introduce to you the participants in today's roundtable. First up, we have the always lovely, always kind of like a sister to me, Raymond Brown. How's it going today, Raymond?
Going great. Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Glad I mean so much to you.
You do. You're like the little sister I never had. I think people were thinking I was going to say that about Andrea, but Andrea's been mean here lately, so I'm not going to say it about Andrea. She's been kind of thuggish. But no, Raymond Brown, creator of Bully Eater. He oversees a lot of our design efforts, all around good guy. So I want to thank Raymond for being here. Next up, we have Andrea Doney. How's it going, Andrea?
Good.
Are you are you still freezing in Canada?
Yep, I am.
Still in Canada.
Yep, I'm still in Canada.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I was watching the Women's World Cup today, and as I know already that you don't care about sports at all, and plus your native country Hungary was not in the World Cup, Women's World Cup. Did you still catch any of it? It was a fantastic game between Australia and Norway. Sorry, did you watch any of that?
No, sadly we don't have cable, so I can't really follow it. So I'm just seeing the results, but that's pretty much it.
Got it. Okay. All right. But I bet you've been watching a lot of haiku and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I do watch volleyball online, so there's that.
Well, all right. Well, then we're glad to have you on the chat today. Of course, Andrea is the creator of our hit series Saigami. So we're really pleased to have her. Next up, we have Mr. Whyt Manga, the one and only Whyt Manga, Odunze, creator of the hit series Apple Black. Whyt, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Hopefully, I think we're going to have a good chat today. Everything's cool. Everything is swell.
Good deal. And is it hot where you are? Because I know, obviously we're in the summertime, so, and I know it used to get hot down there. Is it getting hot down there now? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, that was one thing I did not miss about Texas.
Well, I like the heat actually, so I like it.
I mean, I will say that the heat there is, a dry heat compared to here, which is more humid, and so it is. You would not like it here. It's super sticky. It's not good, but it's all good in the sense that I don't have to go through it anymore, except for what I deal with here occasionally. But that's that. But so we're good to have you glad to have you on the chat. We have a lot of stuff to chat about with you today. And last but not least, we have a special guest for this episode. We have the one and only Jay Oden. He is the creator of Hammer, one of our great series called Hammer. And Jay is going to be talking with us today and sharing with our little discussion. So how you doing today, Jay? Not sure if Jay can hear me. Jay, can you hear me? He's sending me messages on our work chat. Sorry, something, and then having trouble. Sorry. Oh, okay. He's having trouble, folks. So think about that, folks. We went through all the trouble to add Mr. Jay Oden on, and now he's having trouble getting on. But hopefully he will get connected again. He got knocked off evidently via his phone. So let me take this opportunity and tell you guys that a couple of things. Number one is we are a growing company, and we've been at this for 5 years. We helped kick off the diverse manga revolution that many people nowadays enjoy. We're really proud of our accomplishments. We have a lot of great things coming, and we work exceptionally hard. But we're not a super funded company. Some would even say we're negatively funded. So because of that, we use some very very pedestrian technology. Like, we're not some super sophisticated operation. Right now, we're doing the YouTube live chat functionality. I can tell you already that there, as you just saw with Jay, there'll be some technical glitches that may come up from time to time. We ask that you guys bear with us. Also, in a truly ghetto scenario, which I apologize for in advance, I am actually dog watching my parents' dog, and he is has a lot of separation anxiety. He's a rescue, has a lot of separation anxiety, so he's actually in the room with me. Normally, my dog is, she's much more confident, so she will be in another room, or if she's in with me when she knows I'm at the desk and I'm doing things, she'll be quiet. I don't believe that's going to happen tonight. So if you guys do hear dogs barking, I promise to mute it as fast as possible on my end, and then hopefully someone else will pick up the slack amongst Whyt, Raymond, or Andrea until I can get these dogs settled. But I do want to apologize in advance. I wish we had some cushy studio and all those things. We do not. So with that being said, again, we are Saturday AM, the world's most diverse manga anthology. We actually have a second publication called Saturday PM, and that of course features the same sort of diverse content, but it is more focused on the seinen genre, where content is more adult in nature. Nothing pornographic, but just more more expressive, more mature in terms of situation. So we're going to be talking about all these things today, including a lot more. First things first, I want to go around the horn with all of our folks, one by one, and just ask. I got it, Jay. And just ask, did you guys read issue 105? And what did you think of 105? Just quick reviews of issue 105. Let me start with Whyt. Whyt, what did you make of issue 105?
I think it was a very solid issue with all the installments. It was fun to see Atlas article, and a very unique series he has going on there, and just great artwork and just story all around, and characters, and diversity with the character. I feel being a little more maybe Hispanic, I want to say.
Yeah. I mean, Andrea can tell us more, but I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I love the issue. Strong issue.
Totally agree. What about you, Raymond Brown? What did you make of that?
Yeah, same. Solid all the way around. Alice article, it kind of reminded me of the one of Cat in the Hat, the cartoon, only because my kids watch it, but I don't watch it for fun. But the way that they meet the gentleman, I can't think of his name, but the main character, they meet him and they kind of go to these magical worlds. Pretty cool stuff. So had like a little flashback of being a kid again.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's actually interesting. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think quite in that direction, but yeah. What Andrea, since obviously it's your, well, actually before we did, Jay, what did you make of issue 105 and particularly Atlas article?
I loved it. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. I love the fact that even though it was a short story, there was so much that happened inside of that short story. The artwork was phenomenal. Just everything about it was really cool. I really liked, actually. I think you said this either in Saturday FM of the podcast, or it was maybe it was written down somewhere, but it was pitched as Doctor Who meets something else, and I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. So I forgot what it was. What was it? Oh man.
Yeah, well, definitely Doctor Who. Yeah, I kept saying like initially promised Neverland because of the kids, but obviously once I read it, it wasn't quite on that level. It's not quite that. I think Andrea had mentioned. Well, I don't know.
It was like Narnia meets Doctor Who or something like that.
Yeah, Narnia for sure. That's what she had mentioned. Narnia. Yeah, no, I agreed. It definitely. I think the word I would look for to describe it was whimsical. It had a whimsical feel to it. It wasn't like you know, a lot of manga, of course, and a lot of stuff that we get pitched, you know, is always dire and in your face. And this one kind of just had kind of like a really whimsical, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of magical in its own way, you know, like it was kind of winking a nod to the reader. So yeah, I totally agree. Andrea, what did you make of it? Obviously, you had seen it all this time. But what did you make of it?
Yeah, well, I've seen the whole production, so, but you know, that makes it even more impressive for me that I've seen the whole story shaping up from the basic idea to the finished comic that he published, and I've seen how hard Ricky worked on this. So I'm just super proud, and I really enjoyed that article. And yeah, going back to the main character, his name is Italian, like Martian, an Italian name. And yeah, the original pitch was Doctor Who meets Narnia. So yeah, that was the pitch. Although it's kind of funny because for me, it reminded me of the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts movies. Like, you know, the quirky main character and then chasing those coffee animals and all this stuff. So I kind of got those vibes. That yeah, I really like this issue.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, well, first of all, let me go a bit further. I think everyone zeroed in on Atlas article, but I think the issue overall was really good. Like, I was really impressed with the content from everybody. I thought it read like a really solid issue. It just seemed like a solid experience, and so I was really happy with you know, with just the entire issue. And that's really good that we, you know, are in that position. We've got, you know, great series, you know, Paradise Down return. There seemed a lot of interest in that, and you know, Master of the Clear World of Ghosts. And so having Atlas article in there as well was just a really nice situation to be in. And of course, Spoon, to just see this great content. And I think that, you know, again, you know, we make we're a publisher. We make magazines. Our entire effort is to try to make magazines that can entertain people, subscribers, and those who read it for free on the website during that limited time period. And so to have an issue that just has such good content all from top to bottom, of course, with the great layout and design from Raymond and his group, really excited with the issue. I thought it was such a solid issue. Great cover, great content throughout. But yeah, I was really happy. For those people who don't know, this issue 105 is the kickoff to our summer of manga. So this is a thing that we've done consistently since our first year of 2014, where we had content that we debuted in the summer, and we then kind of formalized it around our third year, where it was actually content that we, you know, gave people a chance to submit for, so they could submit to us a chance to be presented in the summer issues. And so it really has become kind of a fun thing for us. You know, we get to discover amazing creators, and I think this year is no different. There's some amazing creators that we've discovered through this process. And then this year we did something a little different, where we actually had a handful of creators, as opposed to having to pitch us on something. They applied for an internship. If we felt that their talent allowed them to really kind of learn directly from a creator, in this case it was Andrea, then they would get a level of feedback that went even further than just pitching us a series and us telling you, yeah, you know, we like that short story. Here's a couple of pages. Focus on this, and you know, meet us back in 3 weeks or whatever. You know, the process they went through was a bit more rugged and involved Andrea, you know, really digging in and using her own experience to help them craft better stories. And so this is the first title. I think there's roughly 3 more potentially. And this was a slam dunk. So hats off to you, Andrea. And for those of you all who are reading or listening to this, please go get the issue. If you're a subscriber, you've already got it. Just go to our website, www.saturday-am.com/subscribe, and you can go in and get the issue immediately once you subscribe. And if you are already a subscriber, then you can go to that same web address and click the button at the bottom of right underneath the cover. There's a couple of buttons. Click the one that says subscriber login, and it'll automatically log you in, so you can then access your content. So that's it's a really great thing. A lot of people don't know that you can do that on our website. So go to the subscribe page, whether you want to subscribe, we hope that you will, or if you want to, if you already subscribed and you want to go get the issue. Some people don't know the issue's out. It is out. It's a great issue. The reviews have been fantastic. And one last thing I'll say as well is that in this issue, you actually are able to take a survey and tell us what you think about many of the properties that we have, including Atlas article, which debuted in this issue. So it'd be really great if we could hear from more people. We really appreciate that happening. Of course, for right now, the subscribers. So if you're a subscriber and you want to continue to show us support, please go and take the survey once you check out the issue. We'd appreciate that. Does anyone else have any comments about 105? There were some great articles in there too, by the way. But anyone else have any comments on that?
Yeah, overall, it was such an awesome issue. MMWOG was by far one of my best. It was Oscar is killing it with the pages. They look amazing, and I can't wait to see what happens next inside of that. Paradise Island was really, really cool. I really liked the action scenes. That was, overall, like the entire issue was just it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, Oscar Fong is just amazing. I'm beside myself with Oscar Fong. He's extraordinary. He actually just reached out to me today, and I'm extremely happy. So yeah, folks, if you're not checking out Mastery Multiplayer World of Ghosts, we call it MWOG. You should. Obviously, I'm really proud of the story. It includes Shonen Manga's first Indian American lead character, but I'm super proud of the artist, Oscar Fong, who we had a number of challenges finding the right artist from MWOG, and Oscar has stepped in. He's been a real champion for it, and his content, his artwork is just amazing. I mean, I had earmarked him as someone to watch a couple of years ago, and we have a number of young creators who are just rock stars. Going to be amazing in a few years. Dan Talarchevak of Crunch Time, Jeffrey Jean-Louis of Yellow Stringer, but Oscar Fong's another one. He is just such a rock star. So yeah, so really great issue. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Alcade, who did great Instagram discovery with Joel Bernard, who's another really fantastic artist. You'll see that there. We have a great interview as well with Ricky Duran, who did Atlas article. And also we have an interview with Night and Beer, which was by Christopher Voyage. He's one of our new intern writers, and he did a really, really solid interview with this group. So really excited about all of that, and some great content and issues. So again, if you're a subscriber, you can check it out right now. Go to our subscribe page, hit the button, log in, and automatically find the issue and start reading it because it's really, really great. If you're not a subscriber, I don't know what you're waiting for, folks. In fact, you must be waiting for this episode. We're going to talk about some of the great content coming soon. You can see it on screen right now, but some really great content's coming soon. So maybe you need to hear that, and I understand that. So listen to this episode. Let us soak you full of information. And then once you're properly dried off from all that awesomeness we're going to dump on your head, then you can go and pay your money and subscribe and support our operation, and also get some amazing content. We got some really, really amazing creators within Saturday AM and Saturday PM. So check that out. Go to the website now and look at it while we talk some more. So all right. So I wanted to, before again we get to some questions again, we're gonna go back and forth between some questions that we got submitted and then some other topics. But one topic I wanted to get to is in relationship to Sparkler Monthly. Now, Sparkler Monthly recently announced that they were going under or ceasing operations, I guess is the right way to put that. As I'm an old school guy, so I say going under, but it was. We all heard of. I think I was on a call with Raymond, and I'm not sure. Raymond, you and I were talking. I remember that.
We were in the design group with Comedy and Jonathan.
We're in the design group with Connie and Jonathan. Yes, we have several meetings throughout the week, and Raymond and I were in the design meeting, and we got the news about Sparkle Monthly, and it was just it was weird. It was a weird thing. We've been now since, as I said before, we launched in 2013, sorry, and we have seen many groups come and go. Sparkler was a group that we were never close with, and that always I think frustrated me because they were doing what we were doing with a different focus. Obviously, they were focused on female-oriented content. and we were really proud of what they were trying to do. I was hoping to try to work with them in several ways. We never could, for whatever reason, we never were able to get a connection with them that was sustainable. But I was always really proud of them for doing it. I mean, I've said before, when you look at Saturday AM and of course Saturday PM now, we don't get nearly the credit that we deserve. And there's so many groups who try to do what we do. But in the case of Sparkler, they were truly doing something that you could tell they really believed in. It wasn't like, well, we're going to do what Saturday was doing, but do it our own way, which is totally valid. But it's not quite the same thing as doing something that you truly, truly believe in. And I looked at Sparkler, and I've always been really impressed with what they attempted to do. They had some amazing creators, obviously, as we've talked about. So yeah, I always felt I felt a little weird when that whole thing went down. It was kind of, I guess, a bittersweet moment, just because we've seen so many groups that we either respected or that we were always a bit supportive of. Groups that we wanted to see succeed, even though we never really necessarily got anything out of them, but we wanted to see them succeed. And I remember Project Wonderful, I think, was another similar moment than that, and of course Ink Blazers and so forth. But this one was a weird one. This one kind of, I think it took a lot of people by surprise, because we have an internal group, and I think everyone was kind of talking about it. So I want to go around the room and get some thoughts from you guys, either about Sparkler or about just kind of what Sparkler's situation portends for the industry, the webcomic, digital comic industry at large. Because again, we've seen a number of these over the years, and I think that's something that doesn't get discussed nearly enough, is how much we've seen companies that were much bigger than us, or groups that were, our contemporaries in some regard, and we've seen them go away. And I think it's always a little, sad when that happens, of course. So let me start with Andrea. Andrea, what were your thoughts on that?
I honestly was surprised. We've seen many companies come and go, but Sparkler, I was not expecting anytime soon to just go out like that. So I was really surprised, especially since they seem to do strong, and they had some really great artists and some people with professional backgrounds. So yeah, it's a very interesting point. So yeah, I'm not sure what to expect after this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. What about you, Raymond?
Oh yeah, the lesson I learned from it, that doing this stuff is hard. Doing this stuff is hard, and you never really know with the company. I guess you never really know what goes on behind the scenes, but for the most part, it seemed like they had their stuff together. They killed it on Kickstarter every time they did one. They pretty much kept the same artist around. So the artists were pretty happy. They stuck around for the same artists I remember them starting with. Most of them were still there. So so the fact that they went under, or shut down operations, was definitely a surprise, and also a wake up call to to keep moving forward and make me appreciate what we got here. The fact that we're still going strong. Things are going. Big things are coming for us, and hate to see them go, but on the same token, just makes me want to work harder to make sure that Saturday M is going to go to the next level.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. I like it makes me want to work harder. I'm like, yeah, you need to work harder, Raymond. We need more of that. You work too little.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a nap real quick. I'll take all of it. It's too much work.
Totally, it's something else. Whyt, what did you make of it, or just in general? What's your thoughts on kind of where things are in the industry?
Overall, excuse me. Overall, I concur with what everybody's saying. What Raymond said, especially, and what you said and Andrea said. And don't want to speculate as to what was going on behind the scenes, though we don't know, and so I'm just not going to. But it was kind of like, it was a little weird to hear the news, but we got to move on, and we are also kind of focused on our stuff. And also to point out, I think the even though whatever happened, like you said, we all had respect for what they were doing, and I would think was great for what they were doing. But I also think that the creators themselves, they're not necessarily going anywhere. I don't think so. And
Yeah,
so
no, I highly doubt that.
yeah, so the content is still going to be out there. So whatever space that they were occupying in this little jungle out here, they would still occupy it to a degree, and I'm talking about the creators specifically. So that's one thing you can positive thing you can take out of it. But overall, we had respect for them, and it was just weird to see them go. And bottom line, we don't 100% know why, because like you said and Ray said, we kind of assumed that they had their stuff together, but you never know what's happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. No, well said. I think to be clear, everything you're saying is 100% right. I don't know what the issue was. I mean, and I haven't read the note in a while, so I can't even talk about that with any confidence. But I don't remember reading anything that made it sound like that something was tremendously wrong. Part of it struck me like they just wanted to move on, and other parts of it struck me that yeah, I mean there were some elements where things weren't as good as maybe it appeared to be, and we can speak to that. I mean, like that's true, like we know that. So yeah, I think yeah, I mean but I mean what I think some people don't know, and again I don't know if all of our readers even know who Sparkler is, but what Sparkler, to your point, why I mean these women. Because it was two women in particular. Like these are accomplished women. Like they want to believe one works at Seven Seas, and both of them I think have backgrounds at Tokyo Pop and stuff. So these are not in any way people who have failed or people who don't have a fairly extensive background to call upon. So I fully expect to see both of the ladies and the artists, to Andrea's point, some really amazing artists they had. I fully expect to see them somewhere else, but yeah, no doubt about it. There, we don't know what all went down. Jay, just final thoughts from you.
Just like what Raymond said, I'm just happy that I'm in the position I'm in, especially knowing that this game is so flimsy. I mean, something can happen, and then it couldn't be there at all, like in a split second. So I'm just really appreciative of what I have, and just makes me want to work a little bit harder to make sure that we can keep it.
Yeah, no question. It most certainly does make you say, hey, let's make sure our stuff is solid. And again, it's hard. I wish I could tell everybody that it's super easy. In fact, we have a if you guys have listened to our podcast, we have in fact Raymond, go ahead. Raymond, Andrea, you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead and take a sip. I'm about to pull a Whyt Manga pitch from my other thing.
Plug. No, yeah.
Right. A plug.
Yeah.
Let me plug my other thing. Ladies and gentlemen, ever feel the need to want to listen to some vibes about how to manage your comic book empire? You need Saturday FM podcast. You can find it on our website at www.saturday-am.com/SATFM. And there you can listen to some episodes where we interview creators. We talk about the various things that impact the modern creator. This latest episode 7 actually digs deep into the question of depression and dealing with creative burnout, which is more common, I think, than a lot of people realize. We talk about ways to discover if you've got it, ways to avoid it, and more importantly, ways to deal with it. So yeah, I just want to make sure I give that quick plug. I learned that from Whyt. Whyt, did you want to comment on that?
I say you learn from the best.
Very true.
If I had as many videos as Whyt, I wouldn't answer any questions. Like I wouldn't even answer what time it is. I'll just say watch my video. That's all my answer.
Exactly.
What's your name, sir? Watch my video.
That's right. You just to learn the answer to that, you need to refer to episodes 1 through 18 of my video series on YouTube. youtube.com/Whyt Manga TV. Sir, how'd you get the name Whyt Manga? Please refer to episode 6 of Whyt Manga TV. You can find it at youtube.com/Whyt Manga TV. Yeah, no, when Whyt did that last episode, a star was born. I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna learn from this guy. Jay, you need to do that more often.
Yeah, man. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You know, you don't answer the same question a million times.
I keep that in mind. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, with that being said, then why don't we get to some of these questions we've got? Because we've got a number of questions from folks who were very eager to ask all of you guys, all of you fine people, questions. So we're gonna get to those. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, one moment. About to pull it up here. Oh, we got it. Good. And all right. Because we did talk, because we did have Whyt Manga, I'm going to answer Whyt. I'm going to ask Whyt a question first. Whyt, this question is from you. This young man, I believe it's a young man, asked, hey, Whyt Manga, what is your favorite video game?
Toughie. It's hard for usually all these favorites. They're pretty tough sometimes. But for me, I'm a big DMC guy. But I'll say like my favorite video game right now, especially you want to play a game that doesn't require too much headache because you already deal with that with stuff in life. You want a game you can sit down and just enjoy, versus I don't know, like Metal Gear where you have to like do this and that and that and this. No, I don't want to do any math. I just want to relax. So I'm a big I'd say FIFA for now, even though the recent FIFAs haven't been the best. But in general, my fondest memory is for like playing video games, especially multiplayer, and just having fun sports game, FIFA.
I concur 1,000%. I play Angry Birds on my mobile phone, and I love it for all the reasons that everyone loves it. It's just as a casual game. I can do it when I'm sitting in the line at the grocery store, or when I'm washing laundry or so forth. I love Angry Birds. But if I have a time to sit down, which I have not had in 3 years, to play FIFA, then I will play FIFA. It's probably hands down my favorite video game. What about the rest of you, Raymond? Video games?
I like Overwatch.
Overwatch, okay.
I bought it for my son, but then I got hooked on it. So.
And how old is the son you bought it for?
At the time, he was 6.
Great. So I think that's a game that 6-year-olds should be playing.
And now he is 84.
That's right.
That's the beautiful part about being a parent. You could like go to like Toys R Us and go in the toy store with no shame and just be like, yeah, I'm just here looking for my son, for my kid. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Toys R Us is supposedly coming back this fall. You know that?
Oh, my kids would be ecstatic. They've been wanting Toys R Us since it closed down.
Yeah. I think I speak to the rest of us when we say, right, your kids.
Yeah, of course it's my kids.
Yeah.
What's what?
Jay Oden, what's your favorite video game, my friend?
Raymond, you're funny. I don't know. I don't really play video games that much. I don't know. I used to play checkers a lot on my phone. Before that, I was playing Dragon Quest 8 like a long time ago. Like I don't know. Like I don't really like playing games. I like watching a lot of people play video games. But recently I've just been so busy I haven't really gotten a chance to even do that. So.
Totally understand. Totally appreciate that. Ironically enough, Jay, I didn't. As soon as I asked the question, I thought something like, I don't think you play video games. You and I have never talked about video games.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to play a lot when I was a lot younger, but in recent years, I have not had any time, and honestly, it's not really a priority for me. So it's kind of just like, all right, whatever.
I feel you. Like I said, I haven't played literally. When I had a roommate in my two different roommates in my house, I kept the PlayStation, because I had an extra TV, so I had them, if they rented the room, they got the TV and this little stand and the PlayStation. and you know, I don't know if either of them use it, to be honest with you, but I mean, I haven't used the PlayStation. I haven't used my PlayStation easily in like 4 years. I mean, I would say 3, but probably 4. And yeah, and I just, you know, it's like, I mean, now I play on my iPhone quite a bit, but just you know, again, that's only Angry Birds. I'm not playing those sophisticated video games. Although I do see some fighting games on there that if I had the money, I would get. Like, even though I know you can't play it for crap on there, like King of Fighters and, you know, Street Fighter, stuff like that. Andrea Doney, I feel like you or like Jay, you're gonna say video games. I don't have time for video games.
It's kind of true. Well, if I have to pick a favorite, I would say Final Fantasy X, which is my all-time favorite, and I finished that game many, many times. But in the recent years, I just don't have the time for them anymore. I do play Pokemon Go, though, so I play that on a daily basis, and eventually we play some Mario Kart, but that's pretty much it for me and video games at the moment.
Makes sense. Totally understand. All right, let's see. Next question for all of you. Let's see here. For the artist, what feels more tedious to you, backgrounds or effects / explosions, fire, etc.? So so effects, you know, that you're going to have going on in something, or the backgrounds. Which one is a more tedious process? Let me start with you, Andrea.
I would say it depends. If it's an interesting environment for the background, then I'm enjoying those. But when if it's just something boring, that can be more tedious than effects. I usually enjoy effects, so yeah, it depends.
Okay. All right. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I would say it depends. Honestly, effects are pretty quick for me, but I guess so are background. I don't know. It's the way I draw it. I have a lot of fun drawing every aspect of it, so it really just depends on which background or what's going on in you know, the comic. You know, for instance, if there's like a fire scene, I really enjoy drawing fire, so I would love to draw the amount of fire that I need to draw. But if there's a lot of it, then I know it's going to be tedious. So then I'm like, all right, well, at least I don't have to draw the background as much because this fire is going to be taking up most of it. So I don't know. It kind of just depends, like I said.
That's a good point. Okay. What about you, Whyt?
I think for me it's a no-brainer. For at least for the keyword being tedious, I'll say backgrounds easy, no-brainer. But like you said, I mean, there's some times where you're drawing backgrounds and you're having a blast with it, especially if it's you're drawing maybe a place that will be revisited in the series a lot, and the background is almost like a character on its own. So you know, sometimes you have fun with that, and effects are pretty easy unless you're doing something that's really complicated. Say you're exploding a background like a building, and that's exploding, and then you have to draw all these particles, and depending on how big you want the panel to be, or if it's a double spread, you know, it can get really, really complicated. But like, if you're just taking like a simple, say somebody doing like a fireball or something like that, and then you're taking me drawing a whole city, then yeah, the whole city was more tedious.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer, but you know, again, I'm not an artist, so I don't know. But backgrounds to me seem to be most difficult. Raymond, do you concur, or you have a different thought?
I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, effects are fun. Like, I do my effects at the end, so it's kind of like the icing on the cake. So, um, you know, so I would definitely say it's a no-brainer. Backgrounds are definitely more tedious.
I would love to meet the artists. Hell, we might have them in Saturday AM. I don't know. I'd love to meet the artists. Be like, you know, people suck. I hate drawing people. I'll draw background any day. People, ugh.
Introduce me to that guy. I wanna meet that person. Offer him a job.
No doubt. Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got another question here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see here. This person says, just a thought. Do you think it's somewhat unfair for artists to sell prints of other creators' OCs? I mean, I have very strong opinions about this. I will start with Jay on this. Jay, what do you make of this question?
So I don't think that you should draw somebody else's character like just blatant. Like if it's supposed to be a fan art and it's meant to be a fan art, then I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. I personally wouldn't draw somebody else's character and then just sell it as that character. Like, hey, here you go. But I, can understand if it's like in a fan art way. Like maybe if it's your original character dressed up like them, or if it's you drawing that original character from a different series in a different way. Like maybe you're drawing them in a different as a different race, or if you're drawing them in a different outfit, or something just to make them look completely different and yet still the same. Like I have an issue with just drawing straight up, hey, here's this character and I'm selling it, because it's kind of like you're stealing from that character. I mean, you're not necessarily the person that went through everything to create that character, so that way it's popular enough to make money off of it. So why should you make money just from drawing that character? So I mean, I don't know, like it's a weird I feel kind of weird about it, but I mean, I personally wouldn't do it, but I could see certain aspects where it would be okay, like in fan art and other things like that.
Raymond, what do you make of this?
No, not making money off of it. No, I mean, there's already very little money in OCs, and making original characters anyway. But to take somebody else's and draw prints of it and sell it and make money off of it and not cut the artist into it, nah.
Yeah, Andrea, what about you?
Yeah, it's an iffy matter. I mean, fan art is always like selling fan art, making money out of fan art is always somewhat in a gray area. But out of someone's OC, the only thing I can imagine if you have the permission from that creator to sell or make money on that print or fan art. But apart from that, I don't think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So Whyt, where you at on this whole thing?
It's kind of like, I think there's a lot of nuance, context missing. I think it really, really depends on like the specific issue. I don't think like there's just one blanket answer for broad brush answer to this. Because some people will hear this conversation and they would include like, say, even illustrations that they didn't draw, like they just maybe plucked it out from.
We lose Whyt. Hello?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Right as he was getting good. Whyt, can you hear us?
The mic's still on.
Yeah, it seemed like I mean, his thing was static even when he was talking. So, all right. Well, folks, I'll tell you, we have a bit of ghetto to our system here. So, Whyt may come back on, or he may have to log off and then log back on. I'm not sure. One thing I'm confident of is that when he comes back on, he'll say, "You can find the answer out in episode 9 of my YouTube show."
What happened to Whyt? Episode 39.
Yeah, so I have very strong feelings about this. So I'm not these artists, obviously. So these artists are probably a bit more political in their answer. I'm not. To me, I think it's inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate completely. I don't even like the idea of doing fan art of other people's work. I see artists all the time on social media. You guys see them as well on Instagram and other accounts, and they basically make their living drawing other people's characters, and not because they were contracted to do that. I mean, there are artists like DCWJ and I forget the other guy's name, Pablo Pantera, I think his name is, and there are artists like that who Art Germ. These are artists who clearly have been approached by DC or Marvel or some company to do their character in that artist style. And I think that's obviously a whole different thing. And if that artist brokers a contract that says, hey, I'm gonna sell this artwork of me drawing Supergirl, or I'm gonna sell this version of me drawing Wolverine or whatever. That's totally fair. They've been contracted to do this. I see so many artists who do it though, and I think it's a little frustrating for me because I think number one, again, I started Saturday M because I want to see more diversity. I want to see more creators bringing their original vision to the world.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep.
Okay. You were going. You can just finish and I'll come back.
Yeah, so for me, I'm not a fan of it. Again, I know my opinion is a bit more strict than you guys will be, but I'm not in the same position you guys are in. I don't really care what people think. I'm just telling the truth. But for me, I just don't. Yeah, to me, it's like I'd rather see artists do their own thing. These artists, all these guys will tell you that I've never been a fan of them drawing other people's characters. In fact, let me just take this a step further. If you get big enough and you get invited to conventions, as we have been, they will tell you up front that you may not sell other people's artwork. And that's, or artwork of other characters. They will tell you that. Like if they're sponsoring you to come to their show, they will tell you that. Like, hey, look, we're not sponsoring you to come to our show and then draw other people's work. Now, maybe some artists get away with that because, again, they are artists who are known for that. And I can think of a few, again, off Instagram. Or because they've been hired by the DCs and the Marvels and other companies to draw these popular characters. And so, they kind of have their own brand as someone who interprets other people's characters in their style. Maybe that's all maybe that's how it's done, and hats off to them for that. But for me, and the whole mission I've had since starting Saturday AM, I would rather see original new creators like all of our creators, really make a mark on the world by creating original content. I think it's very telling that, just to put a bow on this, and I'll turn it back over to Whyt. For me, again, this question is really personal for me because I think it's very telling that you rarely see this in Japan. And that to me kind of says it all. Like you rarely see Oda doing several versions of Dragon Ball just because he loves it so much. You rarely see Kishimoto drawing lots of pictures of Marvel Comics because he loves it so much. Like you rarely see that. If you see it, it's special. If you see them draw another creator's character, it's for a very special occasion, and it's treated that way. You rarely see that, and I think that because again, they take what they do so seriously, and the idea that what they're trying to do is make a mark in the industry with their own creation kind of defines it. Just says it all. It defines who they are, and I think obviously that's one thing from the Japanese that I would love to see adopted by other cultures. Because I think that's the way it should be. Like, draw your own character. Make your own character the biggest thing in the world. Don't worry about everybody else's character. If you do it, if you're a part of it, I feel like Saturday AM, we're asking you to do it for certain instances. Well, obviously, there's a tactical, strategic thing there. But if you're just doing it because that's the only way people will notice you, like, I kind of take issue with that personally. But anyway, go ahead, Whyt. What did you want to finish up with?
You see, that's what I was saying, right? So there's like, it depends. There's like context missing. There's like, as a blanket statement, it's hard to give an answer, and especially when you're talking about money that you get from it. I mean, I could draw fan art all day and not sell any of them, and make money off of that because of the way things are structured now with the internet and being able to monetize through YouTube and Instagram and all that. I can get money without actually having to sell any artwork, any fan art, but I can do fan art and use fan art to build an audience. So in a way, am I selling their art? So it's complicated, especially with the internet and how everything has been working so far. Also, it's a different time, different culture from like Japan, like you just said. Everything is like, it depends, especially like for someone like me, or if I do stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I'm more in line with your thinking because at the end of the day, my goal is to get to the point where people are doing that for my characters. You know what I mean? Yeah,
which they are, like, right? We see it all the time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just think it's a tough one, right? But I feel like that's all I can say. It's a tough one. I'm also not one to, I think people are different. I'm also not one to tell people how to, and this is just me. Yeah. I'm not one to tell people how they should make money. As long as they're not like hurting people physically or mentally, then I'm kind of like lenient. So, and not everybody's like that. Some of these people, not everybody who does this is like desperate for money. Not everybody who does this is doing it for the right reasons. Not, but you know what I mean. It's complicated.
No, that's a really good point, and I do want to. I'm glad you said that because I do want to, based on what you said, make a statement. And folks, and as Whyt was saying, like everyone, he's not gonna tell someone how to make money. I am. Don't draw someone else's characters. Sell crack cocaine. All right. Next up, we have. Let's see. Next question is from.
Don't sell crack cocaine. Don't sell crack. Just in case there's somebody out there who took that seriously. Don't sell.
Other ways to make money, folks.
They're gonna start formulating plans like, I know that one dude on the corner. I need to hit him up.
Frederick told me to get to know him.
Don't sell crack cocaine. Sell meth.
I think we might have just got on IGN. I think we're gonna get on IGN with this.
Hi, Mr. D-Bone. Frederick told me I should work with you. I've not been killing you.
I heard that your manager Scarface was looking for employment. Like, I'm looking for employment. Can you please hire me?
That's probably the same person that like draw backgrounds more than people.
Don't say something. Something's getting to help my son. The only thing you can do is be a lookout. Can I draw it?
Yeah, I could draw the layout, the schematics for you.
Holds up a sign that says, "Holds up a really beautiful get move, police." Anyway, folks, obviously I wasn't being serious. Andrea, since you obviously didn't weigh in on that conversation because you don't know anything about what we just said, I'm going to now give you a question for you. How does that sound?
Good.
All right, Andrea, this is for you. I pulled this after curating all of these questions. This person did not name you, but I thought when I saw him, like, I'm gonna give this to Andrea because she's been really sweet. She's listened to us babble, yada yada. So I'm gonna give her this question. If you guys could recommend one manga besides Haikyuu, what would you recommend? Andrea, that's for you.
Well, I don't know. There are many. Like, I don't know. It depends on who I'm recommending a manga to. I guess because there are a lot of shonen, shoujo, seinen stuff that I can recommend. Well, right now I'm gonna recommend my current second favorite after Haikyuu, and that will be Act Age from Shonen Jump.
Act Age. You've been digging Act Age?
Yeah, like I don't know. When I first read it, I didn't really like it based on the first two chapters. Then I gave it a second chance, and I'm just so hooked on it right now. Like it just feels something different in Jump, and that's so refreshing. It has a female lead, and it's just fun to read. I really like it. Plus, the art style is really good, and the artist is 20 years old, so that just blows my mind every time.
She's 30 years old?
20. She's 20 years old, the artist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I just opened the app to see what all the manga is in here. And of course, I don't think all the manga from Japan is in here, but, but yeah, I've seen there's a lot of new series in there. I'm just going to go around the horn real quickly and ask everybody, just give me yes or no. We got lots of questions, so I don't want to get too deep into this. Just give me yes or no as I go down through each series, what you guys think of each one of these series. First off, One Punch Man. Andrea?
I like the art, but I'm not a fan of the story.
Okay, Jay?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Whyt?
Art was amazing. It starts off great. It's kind of losing a little bit here, but overall, it still gets a super green light for me.
All right, Raymond?
Yeah, really good art. I thought the story got crazy after the first season. Didn't like it.
We're talking about the manga, dude.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The manga ends.
Oh.
The manga has a cutoff point, then where season 1 ends for the most part.
Got it. What about Demon Slayer? Does anybody like Demon Slayer? I'm just gonna name the series because we're taking too much time. Demon Slayer. Does anybody like Demon Slayer?
Yeah.
I've heard about the first episode. Seems like a decent premise, but I haven't actually seen it.
I've heard a lot of good things, but I haven't seen it.
I hadn't seen it either.
Okay. What about Samurai 8?
I tried the first chapter. It didn't do anything for me.
I just know. Wait, this is the Kishimoto thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I haven't given it a shot yet.
Yeah, same here. I haven't given it a shot, but I flipped through some of the pages. I like the art. I mean, I'm always a big fan of Kishimoto's art.
Well, actually, Andrea, what did you think of Samurai 8?
I read all the chapters so far. It's interesting. I'm waiting for it to take off. Like Naruto was a slow starter too, so I'm interested to see where it is going.
So let me say, I've been reading Samurai 8. I've read all the installments because I'm a huge Naruto fan, huge Kishimoto fan. Two things. One, are we sure Kishimoto does the artwork? Because I could have swore that he's not doing the art.
I don't think it's actually him doing the artwork. I think it's actually the lead assistant that he had,
Right.
or the same person that was doing Boruto. Or
No, it's not the same person as Boruto. Definitely not. Because this art does remind you of Kishimoto a lot. That's
so
why
maybe it's an assistant.
because it's so close to Kishimoto.
Kishimoto is doing the storyboards and the rough sketches for the pages.
Got it. Okay, so the other artist is kind of tightening everything up.
Yeah, well, he's basically doing the inking and all sorts of stuff. But
it feels very Kishimoto. There's no question of that. There's little moments where it doesn't, but there's a lot of the parts. I mean, definitely the dad, Andrea, like that's Kishimoto all day long. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I agree absolutely.
That's totally the kid. Kind of not. I will say this. I'm with Andrea. It hasn't quite. I mean, I liked it much better than Raymond did. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the first installment. I enjoyed each of the installments. It does feel Naruto-ish in the sense that each chapter he establishes a different part of how the world works. You can tell he's like spending these first several chapters saying, "Look, here are all the rules, right?" And there are a lot of rules. Like you have to really study it to understand like what the samurai soul is and what the bone sword is and all that stuff. But I will say like it's very creative. There's like a lot of amazing ideas I've never seen before, and so far, like I mean, I've been enjoying it, but I am waiting to see when it kind of does have that breakthrough. But it's I've been enjoying it, so I gotta say I really have been digging it. I really enjoyed it. Okay, real quickly, last few real quick. Chainsaw Man.
Never heard of it.
Wow.
I don't know what that is.
Wow.
I actually read the first couple chapters. It kept me. It's all right. It's kind of bizarre. It's like wacky.
That was cool as shit.
Yeah, it's actually. It doesn't seem like it's supposed to be in Shonen Jump.
It does
it
not
kind
feel
of
like Shonen Jump at all. I totally agree. Totally agree. Andrea, I feel like you would definitely not like Chainsaw Man.
I actually am reading it. And interestingly, I've been enjoying it. And then the chapter happened with that kid's scene that ended up in a barf. And I was like, maybe I'm just going to stop reading this.
That was gross. That was needlessly gross. Yeah, I agree. But it does not feel, I totally agree. It feels more seinen than shonen for sure. But man, like, I mean, obviously the visual is really cool when he goes into that mode. If this got animated, I could see it being pretty big because when he goes into that mode, it is pretty dope. And then you got a couple of new series, Beast Children and Double Taisei, and what was the other one here? Something.
Tokyo Ninja Squad.
What's that?
Tokyo Ninja Squad or Tokyo Shinobi Squad.
Yeah, that's it. Tokyo Shinobi Squad. Yeah, and the last Sayuki. Are any of them interesting? I've not read any of them.
I'm reading all of them. The last Sayuki is pretty boring and very slow paced. I don't really enjoy it. Beast Children is trying very hard to be haiku but not haiku.
Those fools.
Hmm?
I said those fools. Nobody can out haiku.
Well, like it's literally ripping off scenes and certain dialogues, from haiku. So it's it's kind of blatant. Tokyo Shinobi Squad is interesting. They are trying hard with the diversity, even though the main character is Japanese and blonde. But they have one of the main characters from Thailand. They had a villain who actually was Hungarian, so that was pretty fun.
The artwork looks really good in it. That's why.
Yeah, very very cool.
the art for Beast Children? Because that looks very familiar. Do you know who that is?
He never had a series before. He had a short story for Beast Children. It wasn't Beast Children, it was something else. But his artwork back then was horrible. But he improved a lot.
He reminds me of the guy that does Hellsing.
Yep.
It's kind of got that like stiff but like really expressive sort of feel to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. But yeah, I don't think the creator had anything else apart from that short story. That was, I think, even from 2 years ago. So he didn't publish anything in the meantime.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then let's take a break. I want to have some quick discussions on some things that are upcoming. We want people to know about, and then we'll get back to your questions. We'll wrap up with your questions here. We're going to be going until, I think, for about another 40 minutes. So we got some time. Didn't get started until a little late. So we'll extend that time for you folks. I want to start off with Mr. Jay Oden. He is our special guest today. The reason our special guest is because he is not just a great team member. He's got the series Hammer, which I think all of us love. We're going to find out when that's coming back. He's also has a new graphic novel coming out. It's going to come out, in fact, before Hammer Volume 1, which many of you may have supported in our Kickstarter. So we want to talk to him a little about that as well. So let's take a moment and chat with Mr. Oden. Now, Jay, a lot of times people get confused and they think your first name is Jay and your last name is Oden. But I know that's not true because you're not Nordic. So what exactly is the history of that name?
So Jay was my nickname in high school, and Odin is actually my granny's maiden name, or it was actually. And I decided to put them both together and just go with it because it sounded pretty cool and weird at the same time. I figured if it stood out, then that would be the best thing. So
it does stand out. It's extremely original. So hats off to you. I didn't know the history of that. That's really interesting. You had worked for a lot of different companies, obviously, and we're really excited about the fact that you're with us. But you have worked with some bigger companies, frankly. You did a short story for USA Today, and you've also not currently working for Oni. You've done some work with Antarctic Press in the past. Tell everybody a little bit about your background, where you got started, and how you got to where you are now.
So, first off, I've been drawing since I was, around 6 years old, maybe 5 or 6, something like that. And I've always been wanting to draw comics for a really long time. And at one point in time, when I was around maybe 12 or so, I met this guy named Rashad, who eventually became my mentor. But he told me about this school named called SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. So eventually I kept on drawing. I eventually graduated and I went to SCAD. For 1 year. It was a very expensive school. But while I was there, I met a lot of people who were in my same field. I met a lot of teachers. They all had a lot of nice things to say about my artwork. And one thing, my one comic book class, when I finally got into my comic book class, my teacher told me that I already knew what I was doing. I was, being taught by Rashad, all those years, and also my brother as well, because he drew comics. So I already had like a general basic understanding of what I needed to do. All I really need to do was just get out there and get published. That's what he told me. So I decided to say, all right, cool, whatever. So I was drawing this comic called Chicken Fight, which was this one-off story that I had. It was a long daydream that I had. I decided to make it into a cool story. So I came up with a 12-chapter story, and I drew 11 chapters, and I sent off a few chapters to a couple companies. One of them was Dark Horse. I sent one off to Image, and the other one was Antarctic Press. And Antarctic Press got in touch with me the fastest out of everybody, and they really loved what I was doing. They said, "Hey, send us some more stuff. Let's see what we can do." I sent them the rest of the book. They loved it, and we tried to get that published. So once that came out, I actually started working with an actor on his book called Miles Away. His name was Anthony Montgomery. I worked on a book with him, and that came out with Antarctic Press as well. Because of that, I worked with another actor on something else, and then I just kept on going down the line. I met this other publisher That company was called Arch Enemy, and they had a deal with USA Today. And throughout that entire time, I actually was, just doing random one shots, and I actually some of them are going to be actually inside of this book. So definitely buy it if you want to read some of these one shots. But I had a deal with the Arch Enemy people, and they really wanted to support me, and they really wanted to, help me out. And they also really liked my content. So I told them that I had this cool idea to draw a comic for my girlfriend at the time. She's my wife now, but it was like her first birthday present. I drew a comic for her on USA Today, and it came out on her birthday. And that was the first present. So I had to top myself every year after that, which was difficult, but it's definitely interesting. That's for sure. But anyway, long story short,
you definitely up the ladder when you started working with us.
Well, I mean, yeah. After that, I eventually started working. I started doing other things, and I met up with a few editors at cons. I got a few cards. I met an editor at Oni through Rashad, and throughout that entire time working on that, I was contacted by Whyt, and the rest is history. I started working with you guys, and here we are. So that's basically the gist of my history, I guess.
Well, now, yeah, and I remember that well. And at some point, we'll tell the story about how because Whyt is, obviously Whyt has been effective in getting. In fact, we'll talk actually a little bit later about some of the new series we see up on screen, which Whyt has actually helped facilitate some of them. Jay, you have so you did Chicken Fight with Antarctic Press. You have a new book coming out with Oni Press, and then you are doing this graphic novel is about to come out. It comes out July 9th. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's called Jeyodin One Shots.
Yep.
And tell everybody what that book is.
So Jeyodin One Shots is a book that consists of 6 short stories that I drew between 2010 and 2018, 2017, something like that. They're all, stories that all of the styles vary because, they're different parts of my life. I'm trying to learn how to do, more backgrounds in one short story. I'm trying to work on my inks on another story. And, it's just all around a fun book to essentially just read. I think anybody that is a fan of mine or my artwork, to be able to see it change from, super manga and anime to what it is now, it's a pretty cool transitional look through. So hopefully whoever decides to buy it will enjoy it. And that's basically what it is.
Well, we're confident people are going to enjoy it, guys. Obviously we've been working with Jay to put the book together. It's really extraordinary content. I think for me personally, what I hope many of you will first of all, I hope all of you guys will support this new book, because it is a great collection of Jay's work. The second reason is that I hope you'll do it because I think for those of you who want to be creators, and of course a lot of you do, Jay's one of those creators I think that's really interesting. As an American, as an old American at that, I can really appreciate Jay's art style because it's got a lot of similarities to kind of classic American comic book styles and so forth. Obviously, Jay is modern, so he's got some, manga elements in it if you love things like Oda. But I think for any young artist who wants to get a sense of how it's really done, I think Jay's book is a really good place to start because you're getting a bunch of short stories told by really masterful artists over various time periods in his creative throughout his career. So you get a chance to see his growth. I think sometimes it is a bit of a misnomer for young people, as I've said before. Famously said before, I think Whyt used it in his the collection of video that he did for this first episode. You're not entitled to a career in comics, and so someone like Jay, I think, is a really fascinating person for young people to see because he started out doing all these very short stories and stuff, and both for himself and then just because he was able to work with companies. So you get a chance to really see his growth. I think sometimes it's very easy for young people to get deceived and they see someone like Whyt Manga or Andrea or Raymond or anybody, and they think that, hey, I can make a series. And you can't always make a series. In fact, the vast majority of people can't make a series. That's why webcomic sites are full of people who never will finish the series that they have on this webcomic site. No matter whether you like it or not, they'll never finish that series. And so, having a chance to actually demonstrate and learn about creativity and about your own storytelling abilities via the short story is the entire reason we have things like Summer of Manga. And so I just think this is a great collection to see. And the third thing I'll say is that if you support this book, and again, I hope you will, are you gonna have a pre-order with it at all, or?
Yes, I am actually working on the video that I will be giving away to all of the people that will be pre-ordering this book. I've been working on that all day, actually.
Fantastic. And when is that going to go live?
So hopefully sooner than later. I would like it to go live within the next few days. Hopefully by Monday. That would be ideal.
I was gonna say, you know what, dude? Tuesday would be awesome. Tuesday is a great day because Tuesday is, again, that's the date that all these books come out. That's why yours coming on the 9th.
Okay.
Tuesday is the date where things typically are made live. So it'd be great to do it on Tuesday. It'll give us a little bit of time as well to backstop and support it with some stuff on the website. So why don't we shoot for Tuesday? So folks, check out the pre-order. We'll have a link on all of our social media accounts and on our website where you can pre-order this book and support Jay. And let me tell you the third reason I want you to support this book, because if you support this book, obviously we're working on getting Hammered Volume 1 out, and we're really, really working hard on that. These guys actually met a few minutes before this meeting started, discussing more aspects of getting our Kickstarter books done. But Jay and I had a great conversation the other week. We talked about this. We talked about, what will be next, because Jay is such a fast artist. And we talked about, now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I think if you guys show the love and support Jay's book, this could happen. And Jay, do you remember what we talked about?
Yes, I actually am very excited for that idea. It's just a matter of finding the time for it. So hopefully sooner than later, I can find that time.
If you guys help make Jay Oden one-shots a success, and by success we mean enough money for Jay to get a tire for his bike. Sorry, Jay, I had to go there.
Thanks. I got a new one. I was just like, you know what? I don't care about tires. I'll just get a new one. It'll work out.
Exactly. We're not talking FU money, folks. Just help this man get a new bicycle, a Fisher Price, a big wheel, something. But if you can do that,
a big wheel,
so Jay can go to work in style. We talked about Jay doing a follow-up one-shots, and it would consist of his interpretation of some of the Saturday characters in like these little short stories. You guys have not seen the amazing videos that Jay did where he did fan art of all of our various characters. It's just sublime. And so we talked about it, and obviously, again, it's way down the road, and it may never happen, but we thought it was such a great way to follow up that book because Jay is so fast, and he just has all these ideas. It's like, man, wouldn't it be really great if he could do a book that just featured short vignettes in his style of all of our different characters? And I just thought, man, that would be really slick, actually. It'd be really, really cool. So help him have success. It doesn't matter if our characters are in his book or not, because the bottom line is that this guy's an amazing storyteller, and these short stories are really fun, and you're going to really dig them. So check us out on Tuesday, which is June 28th, I believe. Is that right? And get ready to support this man with a pre-order. No, it's June 25th. And support this man with a pre-order so that we can get him ready to go. That'd be fantastic, folks. All right, so on your screen, I'm sure you guys are wondering what is on our screen. And what's on your screen are three things that are upcoming. Now, first up is Codename Villain. This is a brand new series that will debut with issue 6 of Saturday PM. It is beautiful. It's got an awesome plot to it. It does involve superheroes and villains and all this stuff. And it's really, really cool. And it's from two young creators from Saudi Arabia. We couldn't be more proud of them. We couldn't be more excited to have a new set of creators out of Saudi Arabia. We debuted from last year's Summer of Manga, Tender Loving Punch, which was a series that came from Saudi Arabian creator named Sama. And so we've been really fortunate with the brand of Saturday AM and Saturday PM getting that far. This series will again debut in issue 6 of Saturday PM, which will come out sometime in the fall. To the right of that, on the other side of the screen, we have Outland, which is a brand new series that will also debut in Saturday PM. It actually comes out in issue 5, which is coming out later this month. We're really excited about this as well. It's by a young man named Richard Milhouse. You may have seen his work from our 2018 March Art Madness competition. He went to the Final 4, I think, or Final 8 for sure. Really, really talented guy. Great, cool sci-fi concept here. I think you're going to really love this. Beautiful artwork. And then in the middle, we have the cover, sneak peek of the cover for issue 106 of Saturday AM, the next leg of our Summer of Manga edition for 2019. Comes out again at the end of this month, so you don't want to miss that. And that, of course, features extraordinary art by the one and only Whyt Manga. In fact, all 3 of these series are courtesy of Whyt because he was able to either work personally with the creator to develop the concept a la Outland, or he was able to reach out to initially, or at least find some of these creators that he thought were really cool for us to reach out to, as he did with Jay. And that's how we first learned about Codename Villain. So hats off to Whyt there. Whyt, what do you want to tell people about issue 106, the Apple Black and stuff? What do you want to tell people to look out for in that issue? Whyt?
I'll just say, for 106, when it comes to for Apple Black specifically, you'll be finding the close or the winding down of the 19th chapter of Apple Black, and also you get to see the guy on the cover, kind of in action in battle. And if you notice, if people pay attention, there are actually 2 characters shown on the cover. But the other is kind of like in reflection. So it's like the closing of a battle between this character and Simon from Apple Black, without giving more spoilers. It's just like a cool insight of what happens after the end of Volume 2, and you get to see what Simon is actually capable of. You get to find out what the wand he is using is, and have fun in that realm. And it's the wand itself is actually something we've seen, but we don't know it's a wand. So it's just overall fun action, fun overall character development, where you get to see and interactions between characters, and just overall fun chapter, closing of chapter 19, and should hopefully people enjoy it.
So we're looking forward to this issue, folks. 106 is going to be really hot. Of course, it's got the return of Apple Black. We're really excited about that. And then Saturday PM issue number 5 is going to have the debut of Outland. It's also going to have the next installment of Underground, which is a great new series by J.R. DeBard. Yellow Stringer, great series from Jeffrey John Luis. It's also got another series that will debut in it via our new Saturday AM Submit program called Kingdom of Assassins. You're going to really dig all of that. There's also an interview with the Codename Villain artist and writer. So Saturday PM is going to be an amazing issue. Saturday AM issue number 106 is going to be an amazing issue. Both of those come out at the end of this month. If you don't subscribe, folks, what are you waiting for? We are the most diverse manga anthologies on the market. We kicked this whole category off in 2013, and we've been going from strength to strength. So please help us continue to be there. Help us continue to keep the operation moving smoothly. We need more of you to tell your friends about it, more of you to subscribe. And of course, if you can't, we understand, this is the real world. Then at the very least, tell people about it, get them to come to the website and check out the magazine, because subscribers get the magazine first. They get a couple of extra content as well occasionally. And non-subscribers can still read the issue at a later date for free on the website. So let everyone know about that, folks. Of course, you can find out more at www.saturday-am.com/subscribe. Saturday AM issue number 106 and Saturday PM issue number 5, both out into this month. All right, next up, we have some more questions. I'm going to get to those. This young man says, has Jet settled? Jet, he says, has Jet settled on a favorite brand of marker yet? But I assume that's you, Jay. Have you settled on a favorite brand of marker yet, Jay?
I mean, I don't know. I use all types of markers. I mean, I would say that Copics are probably the easiest ones to use, just because they blend so well with the alcohol base. But I mean, Prisma are more vibrant, a lot more saturated. So I like to mix them. But yeah, I don't really have an answer for that.
Okay. Does anyone else have any favorite? I mean, so folks, let me say that you're going to be seeing we're going to have some partnerships in the near future. Us working with a number of companies to promote their product, like we did with Chameleon, because again, we're doing advertising, and a lot of companies want to work with us. Do you guys have any strong favorites of any companies you'd love for us to work with? Let's go down the list. Andrea.
Well, I go for anything literally.
I was getting ready to say, but when that question was like, Jay, what's your favorite? If you selected a favorite mana marker, I'm like, yeah, the one that's free. That was Jay's answer. What, Andrea, what do you? Yes, I know, Andrea. You'll work with anything. But what do you like? What would you love for us to work with?
Well, obviously Copic is usually the best and the go-to marker brand. I personally really like to work with Prismacolor markers as well, and Shinhan Touch markers. But I'm always interested to try out new markers and all sorts of things. So I'm open for anything, especially if it's free.
Understood. What about you, Raymond? What do you like to use? I think the answer as well is free, but what makes sense to you, sir?
I like to get a partnership with Sakura, Micron, whatever they call themselves. I don't really do much with markers, but I do a lot of inking.
Got it. What about you, Whyt?
I mean, when it comes to markers, I guess just because I use them the most, but just like Copics, but just like everybody else, I'm open to different, more options and trying them out. And I use microns as well. So I mean, just to answer the question, I guess I'll just say Copics.
Okay, all right. Next question is, how about compiling a list of famous Fred says it like it is quotes? Yeah, we're working on that book. It's gonna be called Freddie Damn It, and hopefully I'll have it. It should be a New York Times bestseller by the time I'm done with it. But yeah, we'll compile all of my famous sayings here, including "You should sell crack cocaine." Let's see here. Do you guys think you'll one day get to a point where you got your own animation studio? Shit, I would love that. I'd love that. Does anyone have would you guys be against owning your own animation studio?
Hell no.
I think that would be
animation
amazing.
Studios. Yeah, animation studios for suckers, man. We don't want that. Screw that.
I want it all, man. I want an animation studio. I want, I don't know, a 3D printer studio. So I want everything that could be possibly imagined when it comes to entertainment. That's what I want.
Did you guys see that? Speaking of 3D printers, I've been on this 3D printing thing. In fact, that was part of the pitch when I was first putting the Saturday game together. Did you guys ever see it's a YouTube video. It came out, I think, a couple weeks ago. It's one of the guys who used to be on like Mythbusters, and he created a suit of Iron Man armor.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and he could fly with it.
That was crazy. Yeah,
and it was 3D printed titanium. I'm like, oh my god, like they're 3D printing titanium. Oh my god,
that's amazing.
That was a mind blow. I was just like, I mean, I've been following 3D printing. I was really heavy into it about 5 years ago. We started Saturday AM. And man, I mean, how far that technology has come in 5 years is crazy. Crazy. Okay. That was a fun question. Let's see here. So we got a couple of questions that are all the same, roughly. And they basically come down to, is there a way, this one person says, can we do a rundown of how to submit your comic? The other one says, how do you post your comic on the site? So let me speak to that real quickly, because we've got a couple more comments here that I know that I won't know anything about. I guess the artists will know more about them. So, folks, again, if you want to submit your comic, there are 3 things to keep in mind. Okay, 3 big things. That's really simple to learn. I've had several conversations the last few weeks with people who write us in various social media platforms or email me directly. So let me please explain this, and give me 1 second, actually. All right, that was the dog moment that I suspected. My parents are coming to pick up their dog. But real quick, let me just break this down really 4 quick things. So number 1 is, folks, if you've never submitted or if you've never done a comic book before, we're really not the destination for you. Although we do care, we do want to, we discovered amazing creators that way, but it really is a tough proposition because we're a publisher. We're trying to focus on getting our books into retail and competing at the highest level. And so it's just really difficult to micromanage that level of opportunity with people who are new to the entire process. If you've never used a scanner, if you don't know how to get your work turned digital, if you don't know how to lay out a comic page, we're not the place for you. And really not many places are the place for you, but we certainly are not. And so, I get this question so many times, and so I have to take every opportunity to make sure that everyone hears that. Please stop asking us if you do not know how to make a comic book. How do you make a comic book? That's not our job. That's not something we can really do. Maybe one day we can assist with a book on how to draw comics or whatever, but that's really not an area that we can assist you on. So ultimately, at this stage of the game, if you are someone who has some talent, you've been you've tried around stuff like this before, we have a program called Summer of Manga. You are able to submit to us a pitch of like, hey, this is a comic that I'd like to try to do as a short story. We will honor that if we think that you've got all the right attributes that we're looking for, and that's why we have the Summer Manga program that's happening right now. Number 2. If you're not even sure if you're at that stage yet, but you love to draw, you would like to one day make a comic book, but right now you're just trying to get better at art. We have art competitions like March Art Madness, soon to be Fan Art Friday. These are excellent opportunities for you to try your hand at drawing and get critical feedback. You can win some prizes, things like that. You get to compete against other artists. You get to be tasked with different things to draw, so it takes you out of your comfort zone of just drawing Goku all the time. So, as an artist, if you're not quite sure about making comics yet, that's definitely the place to start. If you've drawn and you can draw really well and you've tried your hand a couple of times at creating a story and you're looking for something that you can kind of pitch and trying to get like a professional feedback, Summer of Manga is something for you to try. Saturday AM Submit, which is the newest thing that we just unveiled, is a submission program that happens all year long. The first of every single month, it opens up and you're able to submit to us a story. And then if we like it, within the first 10 days of the month, then we will let you know, and then we will publish that comic. Now, here's the thing. That comic needs to be already in existence. You can't show us work you've done on another website or on your own website and then suggest to us that, but I want to do a different comic book. That's not how this works. Saturday AM Submit is for people who have existing webcomics on other platforms, whether they're big or small, it doesn't matter. As long as you had existing webcomic that you'd like for us to try to see if we could publish. And we're looking for great content. We'd love to put great content into our magazines. But first and foremost, you have to be an existing creator. If you're not, that's what Summer of Manga is for. So if you don't have 50 pages, please don't contact us with this until you have 50 pages of material. If you want to do a different story, please don't contact us based off of what you've already done with your existing webcomic. Contact us with your existing webcomic if you want us to publish that existing webcomic, because we're going to try to do things with it in terms of trying to improve it with some grammar and spelling checks, and we'll offer advice on things that maybe can be improved, and obviously we'll add our brand and marketing to it. But beyond that, this is a non-exclusive relationship for people who are just trying to take what's already probably a really great story and get additional opportunities with it by coming to Saturday AM. It's no different than some of these sites that pop up, some of these new web apps that pop up talking about, hey, come to us and let us publish a comic like Netflix or whatever. And if we make money on advertising, you can get a cut of that. It's no different than that. It's no different than that. It's the difference is that, we would put you inside of our magazine, and that's the only difference. So those are really the key things I want to make sure everyone understands is that, Saturday AM Submit is kind of like the ultimate level. If you're an existing creator, you want to get that property seen by our fans, then submit it. You've got until the 1st until the 10th of every single month to try it. Please don't submit it every month. Put your presentation together, submit it, and we'll see what happens. Again, March Art Madness, Fan Art Friday. These are big events for artists. Summer of Manga is a great event for first-time creators, and that's kind of how it goes. Those are, I think, the best answers relates to that. In terms of submitting your comic, All the information is on our website at www.saturday-am.com/submit. So all the information is there. Shouldn't have any issues finding out information on that front. There's a fact on the page as well. And of course, we do have a variety of social media accounts you can contact. With that being said, let me hit these other questions real quickly to the gang. Someone says, how do you guys feel about the controversies regarding Nessa fan art? I don't know what that is.
You know what? I heard that. Like I've always heard about like, oh, there's a controversy with it, but I always ignored it. And apparently, it's like stemming from some kind of argument or trolling or sensitive or outrage on Twitter, where Nessa is a character of color. So you might actually have some input on this, but is a character of color, I believe, a black female character for something Pokemon is doing. And so it's a Pokemon character, a black character. This is what I know, and anybody can jump in and tell me if I'm wrong. So everybody loved the character design. Everybody loved the character. Everything's cool. Everybody's doing fan art. Everybody's doing cosplay. Everything's all dandy. But then some people take issue with other artists depicting the character, but drawing the character in a way where she's not as dark, where she's either white or light skin or something like that. Now, personally, I've seen some where they didn't draw her, like she still seemed like a black character, but maybe not as dark as the original illustration that came out or original character design that came out, but she was still clearly a black character. But so some people were like, oh, they made her light. I've seen somebody just made her white. I saw one today where the artist who draws like pretty dark, dirty, sexy, blah blah blah, and not safe for the workplace stuff. He just flat out drew her as a monkey, and I was like, come on, dude, why? Unnecessary. Anyways, but I think he's like one of those kind of troll artists he might not even be like a racist guy or anything like that, but he's just one of those guys that you do it for like the shock value. You know what I mean? And it's just like, well, there's no need, but whatever. So the outrage just stems from, I think, people drawing her lighter than she actually needs to be, or drawing her something that she's not. And then there's this argument of like blackwashing and whitewashing. And I actually, again, the only one I've seen was the monkey one, and someone drawing her a little lighter, but she still seemed black, because right next to a whiter character that the person also drew, she was black. But I've not necessarily seen one. Actually, I think I might have seen just one where somebody drew her as white, but really that was like as a response to all this outrage. Like I never saw any illustration of her being drawn white prior to any of all this stuff. So that's what was going on Twitter. I ignored it, but like people, gave me like the download today, literally today, and that's what it is. So now you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you explained it. While you were talking, I pulled up, I Googled it, and of course, found all the images and stuff. And I did not see the light skinned version, first of all, so I can't comment on that. But this is, So again, I don't know everything, so I don't want to get too deep.
You can be light skinned and black. I'm not that dark, and I'm African. I'm straight up African.
I don't mean. Well, I mean, so I think it's relative. I think there's first of all, I think let's be clear. I think the issue with light skin aspects of it. I mean, and we don't have time tonight to get into this, but I think the issue with the light skin thing is that with the Japanese, first of all, the Japanese have a tendency, and this is fairly known. It's not like this is a shock. It doesn't get talked about nearly enough from the people who should talk about it, the big anime websites and people who are consider themselves aficionados of anime. Because for the most part, there's very few people of color in animes like Saturday AM. That's one reason why I think we don't get nearly the support that we should from a lot of these media groups. Because I'm very upfront about my belief in diversity. So let's be clear: light skin does not necessarily represent blackness when you don't put any black features to the characters. So if they have a hairstyle that does not reflect someone who has Afrocentric background, if they have if they just don't have any features of it. I mean, then what it is colorism. It's you've drawn a manga character and you just painted the character a different shade We see this in Paradise Down, as a matter of fact. And what happens with this is there becomes this conceit from a lot of young people, frankly, where they're like, oh, well, that character is black. And you're like, why would you think this character is black? Like, well, because their skin is darker. And it's like their hair is not, doesn't have an afro. There's no black features to the character. And yet somehow the Japanese want you to know the character is black. You see many features that they somehow leave out of other characters. So I think there is a concern there. I certainly take issue with it. But again, in this case, I didn't see the light-skinned version of her. I only saw the darker skinned version. She wasn't particularly black looking. I mean, it's not like she had black features and all. But regardless, none of this surprises me. I mean, again, I think part of the aspect of this toxic culture. Let's remember groups like 4chan and things like this are part of a lot of the things that occur when you see some of these racist imagery and some of these violent rhetoric that gets passed around. And these are forums that are very popular on Japanese sites, but also have a lot of image racist contingents to them. Either way, it's a good thing that Pokemon did start to address some diversity. I think it's fascinating that they had the movie come out and there was a black character in the main role. I think that's pretty interesting. In fact, I think it was really interesting that they had a movie come out and there was only one Japanese person. He's like a background character. So again, there's also stuff that goes on when it comes to representation in anime and manga. But ultimately, as far as I'm concerned with the Nessa thing, there's nothing surprising. If you're a black person and you are proud of your heritage, there's nothing surprising about things being done to minimize our community. The young girl who's half black, half Japanese, and won the U.S. Open. I forget her name. Jay, you drew the picture. What was her name again?
Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka. This was a controversy with her, where they depicted her in an animated commercial, and she was, and they then went around and depicted her far lighter than she is. Rui Hachimura, who just got drafted in the NBA draft. Of course, I'm a giant sports fan. He made news, but he was also very upfront about the fact that when he was a kid, as a half black, half Japanese person, he often was ridiculed. And so, I think the reason Saturday M is so important is because we're challenging a lot of these things on all sides, on the sides of the people who are not Japanese, but are kind of like Japanese anime manga fan lovers. And somehow they don't care about the lack of diversity, even though they should know better. And then, of course, with the Japanese, when you're creating content being exported around the world, we would have an issue, and we have said this about companies that have all black content, of the responsibility that they have to be more respectful and more open to the diversity of the world and not just create all black content. Saturday M, I'm African American, Whyt's African, Raymond's African American, Andrea's a white girl from Hungary, and yet we have been champions of diversity. We've had LGBT, we've had Latino characters, we've had Indian characters. I would like to see more people strive for that and less of this thing about trying to make things look white or look Japanese, or if they have color to them, they still look like they're a manga character without any real attention to diversity. But that's my thought on it. Anybody else have any comments on it? Or why did you want to say something else?
Yeah, do you have obviously the whole situation is more, again, this is actually worse than the question about selling fan art and stuff like that, because it's very complicated, right? So, but what would you say to the people who would like what would you say to like the argument that you always hear when they say things like, so for instance, the reason why I actually got the download gist for this is because somebody on Discord asked me what I thought about it, and it was about most of the arguments are like what you're saying, but then the arguments about, is it okay for someone to like, shouldn't it be okay for an artist to depict the character how they like? So if the character was in this case, we assume black, to depict her as whatever ethnicity the person wanted for whatever reason. I mean, they're the artists, they have that freedom. So it's like, why is there an outrage when someone does that? Even if we're not even sure. Again, I actually haven't 100% seen the illustrations, so I don't even know if that was actually the intent. But if that was the intent, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with depicting the character in a different light? And some people would say it's just like doing gender bending, or that's what they like. These are the arguments I hear. And my question is like, how what's your response to that in that case of, like, I guess some would say maybe whitewashing or blackwashing or whatever. But what's the response to that? Like, oh, they should be able to draw it however they want.
Yeah, so I think that, and again, that's why I said I don't want to, because this is a really long conversation, and we're gonna have to wrap this up here in a minute, because my parents have arrived, and we're gonna they're gonna pick up their dog and stuff, and you say hey to them. So I do apologize in advance, folks. But we said we were only gonna take this thing to 10 o'clock, and we've done that. So, but let me. So I don't want to get too deep into this. We'll save this for a future episode or live chat on another platform. But I think when we talk about politics, which again is a tough subject for some people, I think that I have a simple philosophy on this, which is that I think part of the problems we have right now in this country, and and people have in other countries, is that there's this thing of trying to make both sides work, and the reality is that there are sometimes it's not a both sides thing, and we become too. The groups are always crying about calling people snowflakes and so forth. To me, seem to be the groups are always so concerned about how they're perceived. I've often said that racist is the N word for people who are racist, because if you call someone a racist who are behaving in a racist manner, it cuts them deep. It cuts them so deep. You see them in tears and they're wigging out and so forth. And so, when we talk about something like the question of, well, why can't I just interpret something the way I want to? It kind of reminds me again politically of the idea of, like, why can't I say the N word? Y'all can say the N word. It's like, because you can't. It's that simple. Because you can't. That's why. That one of my favorite all time jokes is Chris Rock, where he's like, when a white person has a fit to trade N word, he's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you say the N word. You let me raise interest rates. And again, I know we have a lot of young people who listen to this and they're not going to understand that, but like the world is not built on fairness. There's a lot of unfairness. Part of the success of a lot of communities out there in the world are at the expense of other groups, whether it's women, people of color for sure, Black people in particular. And so, if you righted that ship all of a sudden, there'd be a whole lot of wealthy people of color without having music or sports and so on and so forth. So, again, there's the reality is that, do I feel like people should just be able to interpret African Americans the way they want to? No, because I saw the image, by the way, of the monkey version of this character, and that's the character. And I'm sure this is what those artists would say, is that he's a troll, he's this and he's that. But that's a harmful thing. And I'm sure if someone depicted him a certain way, all of a sudden there'd be hell to pay from him and his acolytes online. So, again, I'm always dubious of this idea of there being a both sides issue. When Black people are still getting, paid less, they get incarcerated at higher rates than other people. They don't get funding for startups that are successful, like Saturday AM is, the way that some of our some counterparts of other ethnicities do. Women also suffer from a lot of these things. They get paid less. They don't get funding at the same levels that male people do, that men do in startup companies. When these are the issues, then trying to make a joke or trying to feel like you're right to be a troll or you're right to be silly trumps the real pain caused by people who suffer from that pain every day. I think that's you don't have that right. So there are no both sides I need to consider. I consider the side of the people who are disenfranchised and marginalized a hell of a lot faster than I consider the rights of people who have everything at their fingertips and just want more. Like I don't ascribe to that. What's gonna, how bad is their life gonna be that they can't draw this character super light skin if she's meant to be Black, or they can't draw the character as a monkey? Like what is it? How bad is their life that is all they need in life to do is to do that? I don't think that's something I'm going to lose sleep about. But again, as you indicated, these are complicated subjects. I do not know the whole scenario for these things, so we'll have to find out more about that. But diversity is a powerful subject. I think we can do a whole roundtable about this. Does anyone else have anything they want to say before we call time on tonight's chat? Yeah.
No, it was solid. I hear you. I just wanted to.
I mean, I think it's a dope character design. Like I didn't know the name or anything or the controversy behind it, but I do remember, just like back when female Bowser came out, you just saw him you see this character everywhere. Like I saw her all over Instagram, everywhere, and I was like, I didn't know that was like a fan art or something like that, or like an OC. But then I found out it was a Pokemon character. Like I said, I love the design. It was really cool.
Agreed. Totally agree. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Andrea, anything?
We just ruined Pokemon Go.
I know. We just put it all on.
Yeah, I agree with Ray. I like the design. I kind of miss the whole story with this. I suppose, but yeah, I was just like, oh, cool design. I'm looking forward to see more of the new Pokemon game. But that was it for me.
I mean, I'm not going to play Pokemon anyways. I could care less, but I did think it was a neat character. Jay, what about you, buddy?
The design that I saw, I thought it looked really cool. I had no idea about the controversy actually until Whyt said something. So I'm glad I know now. But
that was the question that we got. So
yeah, I'm glad I know now. But I mean, I had no idea. But she looks really cool. I kind of want to draw something myself. Like it looks awesome for sure.
Don't get this man started. He gets inspired at the drop of a hat. All right, well, folks, I think we're going to call time on this. And again, we hate to kind of end on a little bit of a downer, but it's not so much a downer, folks. Look, folks, diversity matters. It matters. The success of Saturday AM proves that. The success of Black Panther and so many movies proves that. Captain Marvel. Diversity matters. It's time in the bottom. That's the bottom line. It's time. So I don't lose any sleep about talking diversity. I hope some of you guys are educated. And those of you who are pissed off about it, we're probably not a place for you to spend your time with anyway. But bottom line is this: we care about diversity. We have fans from Scotland to Saudi Arabia, from Israel to Nicaragua, from Mexico to Hungary, from the United Kingdom to the USA, and all over the place. South Africa to India, and so on. So, folks, this is what we are. This is what we care about. It's what we believe in. You're going to see more characters from more diverse backgrounds, more creators from more diverse backgrounds, and we're going to keep championing that until you see our characters and our creators with great movies featuring their characters and great animated shows and great video games and great action figures. We'll be announcing these things soon. We got a lot of stuff in the fire. We hope you guys will continue to support us. Please go to our website at www.saturday-am.com/subscribe and subscribe. You'll be getting issue 105 right now. You will get issue 106 and Saturday PM issue number 5 at the end of this month if you're a premium subscriber. If you're a basic subscriber, which is just $5, then you'll get that then. We are changing our subscription soon, folks. It's $5 right now for a basic subscription, $30 for a premium subscription. We'll be changing that into one unified subscription on a monthly scale. So we'll be talking about that very soon. Likewise, we're going to be unveiling more great series. Saturday AM Submit goes live on July 1st. So you'll be able to submit your comics to us. Stay on the tune for Saturday FM podcast as we reveal the first Saturday AM Submit creators that we have looked at and decided to go forward with. Don't forget this coming Tuesday, which is June 25th, you'll have a chance to pre-order the great Jay Oden one-shots from Mr. Jay Oden. And we got a lot coming up, folks. A lot of stuff coming up. So Anime Expo, we may have a presence there. We'll advise more details on that soon. We don't have time right now, but we've been in talks to possibly have a presence there. So hopefully you guys will be able to check out some Saturday AM stuff soon. With that being said, folks, we will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Whyt. Do you guys want to add any final comments before we sign off?
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, don't sell cocaine. That's a good way to go to prison. So,
Raymond,
do what you got to do.
Andrea.
Do weed? It's legal in many countries now.
Then, okay, those are great final words. My final word is really simple, folks. If you're curious about, what's going to happen next with Saturday AM, tune in to episode 19 of Whyt Manga TV. You can find it at youtube.com/Whyt Manga TV. Great videos there, folks, including tips and tutorials from one only Whyt Manga. That's all, folks. We'll see you guys next time for Saturday AM Roundtable. Bye-bye. All right, guys.